I can't be more dedicated to your success than you are. But I feel really good. And even when that video was playing, I mentioned to you a couple of the people there. I'm like, oh, that guy made $8 million. I'm like, oh, that guy is the head of this department at a specific university. Oh, that guy made, with Claudia. You know Claudia, and Claudia is a very hardworking. I don't know when I've ever met a harder working female. And how many girls came from Brazil, from some rural, village in Brazil, and became multimillionaires? How many girls have you seen?
Not many at all.
Yeah,
not many. You count on your hand, one hand.
Yeah. So I really enjoy helping somebody who's dedicated to help themselves. But I can't help somebody who's not dedicated to their own success. Nobody can.
You can come in thinking about quitting. So it's like if I'm going to get into a cage, you're going to go to a professional fight, I already think, well, if you punch me, I'm going to quit. It's like, what? If you punch me one time, I'm going to sit down and throw the towel. No, there's no way.
I'll tell you a story about Jake here. This next slide shows that my first day of training was in November of 2021. I was 300 pounds. I was terribly fat. And, about 7 months later, I was awarded a blue belt, and a year later, a purple belt, and a year later, a brown belt, and a year later, my black belt. And you were around to watch that evolution of, how my body changed and the training that I did and so on.
On those pictures over there, what people see, it's 21, 22, 2023, 2024, 2025. It's like, but you got to explain a little better. It's every 4 days, you have a new coach, not just a new coach, but a high-level coach over here training you from 4 days with Lyoto Machida. And then Lyoto is leaving, I come over and I do 4 days, and I leave and Gordon Ryan shows up for 4 days, and Gordon Ryan leaves and Henry Roof comes over for 4 days. It's a constantly changing, and it's for hours. I hate you sometimes because you make me stay up and train until 2 o'clock in the morning. We start like 7 o'clock at night and go until 2 o'clock in the morning. It's like, my God. So it's not just make it the picture, make it looks like, oh yeah, an average person trains about 2-3 times a week for an hour, 2 hours. You go for hours, and then you bring a strength coach in, and then you bring a kickboxing coach, and then not just tough guys, but you bring Valentina to learn from her. You're learning from top people on the business. So it looks like very fast, but you made the commitment to learn from the best people around the world.
Well, different strategy. I could have bought a big teddy bear on the internet somewhere. I could have found a big stuffed bear and rolled around in the living room or something, I could get a thick carpet and just rolled around on the carpet with a teddy bear and, see what I could learn. Or I could just find the best people in the world ever, the best fighters in the world, to just teach me the things that they learned, over 20, 30, 40 years experience. I thought that was a better strategy. So I thought, to me, it was very important to learn from the best people. And one of the ways that let's go back to the live video for a second, one of the ways that I thought, in my own mind, it's not something that somebody said to me, but I had a rule in my mind that I thought, all right, if I'm going to ask Royce Gracie, hey, can you make time to come over here and help me train? Can you help me with my jiu-jitsu? Can you help me learn faster, better, be as good as I can, as fast as I can? If I'm going to ask Royce Gracie to help me with that, if I'm going to ask Gordon Ryan to help me with that, if I'm going to ask Valentina Shevchenko and Glover Teixeira and Lyoto Machida and Jake Shields and there's Chuck Liddell and there's 30-something names on that wall. I had about 48 top level coaches that came here, plus the time that I trained with other people in other places. It was important to me. I thought the best way that I could show respect for your time, for their time, for your knowledge, your wisdom, and your effort to stay up late and train me and coach me and be a great guide and role model in that space, is when you come back in a few months, I need to be doing significantly better. I wanted you to be able to see that, like, wow, I was here 3-4 months ago, and now I'm back, and this guy is doing a lot better than he was 3-4 months ago. And I wanted that to be an impressive jump. Now, as you said, as soon as somebody leaves, somebody else comes, and then somebody else, and then somebody else, and then somebody else. So I had that pressure from everybody. It's pressure I'm putting on myself, But I had that pressure that, all right, the things that I worked on with Gordon, when he comes back, he needs to see that I remember those things, and I've added something new. The things that I worked on with you, with all the other amazing people that helped me, I need you to see that I remember the thing that you taught me. I'm doing it proficiently, and I've learned some new things around it as well. So to me, that was an important way to show respect for your time, for their time, and I feel that is when I'm trying to help someone with their finances and try to help them make a better life. The people that put in the work and really stand out, it's a lot easier to work with those people, It's a lot easier you feel the motivation you don't mind if we train from 7 p.m. till 2 a.m. because you're like, well, this guy's crazy. But when I come back, I know he's going to remember these things and he's going to be doing better, Is that a fair way to, have I lived up to that standard?
It is. That's the fair way to do it. It's about right.
I really wanted to live up to that standard. I wanted to be, I thought it was a way to show respect. I thought it was the best way for me to pressure myself into, consistently growing and growing as rapidly as I could without skipping steps.
Made the commitment to learn.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't have that.
Even when I had the brown belt, when I received that brown belt, there's a little talking. There's like, oh, he only been training for 31 months. He got a brown belt. And, you made a comment at that time. You said, well, you didn't do 31 months worth of training. You did 9 years worth of training in 31 months. You did 9 years of training in 31 months. When I got the black belt, then people they were concerned about my socks. They were concerned about my chin, my hair. They were very concerned about my hair. Apparently, you have to have an amazing hairline to be a black belt. They said the same. So that was at that time I had trained for 3 years and 7 months. But I trained with the best people in the world, and I don't have any trouble going to professional gyms where there's a lot of high quality black belts, and I do just fine. There's no problem. Or I don't need to say the person's name, but we had another former UFC person here yesterday that has a brown belt and was, a very talented fighter. And you see the gap between, that's a person that was their career. It was their career to be a professional fighter. They, spent years at UFC, brown belt in jiu-jitsu, great striking. But you see the gap in skills between, that person and me. That was obvious to everybody, including them, which is not to insult them in any way, but I'm just saying that I did the work to
learn from the best.
Yeah. There's no better way. I mean, what would be a better way what would be a faster path to success than finding the people? It's the same reason I wanted to go to the business school that I went to, is I wanted to find the best people. All right, what's the best school in the world that I can learn about finance, economics, accounting? These are boring topics. My God, these are boring topics. But you have to do boring things repetitively, and then you have success. It's kind of part of the process, guys. Commandment 2, you'll get what you negotiate for. You don't get what you want. You're not going to get what you deserve. You won't get what you wish for. I deserve it. Well, if you deserve it, why don't you have it? If you truly deserved something, you'd have it already. If you truly deserved it, you'd already have it. All right? So if you don't have it yet, keep working. You don't get what you want. Grandmother, she was, usually she was very clean cut, sweet speaking woman. But she had this, a very wise saying. She would say occasionally to me, she said, well, kid, wish with one hand in your other and see which gets warm first. Or sometimes she would say, wish with one hand and in the other and see what gets filled first. So those were her two sayings about that. And there's some wisdom about that I wish, I hope. Well, maybe you can win an election talking about hope. You can have a bunch of dummies vote for you in an election with these inspiring words. But you're going to have to do something if you want real outcomes. You're going to have to do something. And if you don't have the perseverance and tolerance to social pressure to negotiate for the things you want, then you simply won't have them, This is a gentleman that he told me that he had a job offer for something like, I think he said $120,000. They were offering him a job for $120,000. And I kind of talked him through that. And I explained to him, I said, well, if you communicate with them, I gave him a list of bullet points. But I said, if you communicate with them in a way that if you ask for a random number, like an even number, then they think it's a different type of negotiation. If you say, hey, give me $150,000. So I didn't say ask for 150. I didn't say ask for a number that's like $12,000 a month, which would be 144. So I picked a number that I'm like, it shouldn't be based on X dollars per month. It shouldn't be based on 150 per year. It should seem a little bit arbitrary because that makes it more clear or more likely to be interpreted as though he has a competing job offer that someone else offered him that, You understand? And then I explained to him.
That's brilliant.
Thank you. Then I explained to him, a few other nuances, and I don't want to say much because he's in a unique situation and I want to respect his privacy. But I explained a few other nuances of that negotiation that, of why he's more qualified than other people and more experienced than other people that would want that job. And that he needs to say, he needs to explain that. It's like, hey, if I do this, I could do it better than anyone else. I can be here for a long period of time and do it sustainably. And I said these words, this is also brilliant. You're going to agree with me because you're smart and I'm right. I said to him, say to them, it'd be a lot easier for me to say yes to 148,000. So think about those words. It'd be a lot easier for me to say yes if the offer was 148,000. So he didn't turn down their offer. He didn't say, no, I won't take it. He didn't talk himself into a corner where he can't accept 144. But he said, it'd be a lot easier for me to say yes if the offer was 148,000. Is that a point we could get to? And then, and you read what he said there, just wanted to let you know they agreed to exactly what I asked for, 148,000. I used your exact words and it worked like magic. Can't thank you enough. So I felt happy about that. He felt even happier. You know how much he gave me? Nothing. He gave me nothing extra. But he's a good man and he's helped me with a few other things, so no problem. That's not only $28,000 a year extra, but now think about how things work in the business world. When you work somewhere and when you get a raise, when they give you a raise for next year, they give you 6% raise, 5%, 8%, whatever. He's going to get that extra 5 or 8% on that extra 28,000 too. So that compounds over time. That's a big difference in outcome. And then you also have to think about living expenses. Did his living expenses go up because his income just went up 28,000? No. So he just got a significant bump in income. And that's entirely discretionary spending. That's entirely discretionary money that he still had to pay his living expenses if he would have accepted the other offer. So this is just bonus money that compounds over time when you get an annual percentage raise, you know? That's a significant outcome. That's a big deal. That's a big deal.
You watch this video all the way through, and that tells me you're dedicated to learning more and earning far above average outcomes in your life. Congratulations for that. But now it's time to take action. If you could have earned those results by yourself, you would have done it already. My head coach has opened up a few spots on his high-demand calendar for an in-person, one-on-one strategy session to help you. On this call, we'll give you the pragmatic advice that you can implement tonight to get laser-focused on the right metrics and leave mediocrity far behind in your past. Click that link right now in the description below and apply for your call immediately. Do it now.